Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadbrajatam Sagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishkam Vitamscha Om Ajnana Timarandasya Gyanachana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Urva Bhistam Sapurakam Gurganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chinja Chinja Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Vidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Novi Bija Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavananam Balarka Chilanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Sri Siddhantanidim Subhakti Lasidam Saraswatanam Banam Banditam Shubhanam Maneka Sharanam Yashishvara Shidaram Vanchakopatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevaja Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahaprabhu Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So can we make just a little slight adjustment so I don't have my back to Gurudev?
What would you like first?
Just upturns a little bit. So
Like that?
yeah, something. Okay. Okay, that's good. All right. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya-charitamrta by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and this is Adi-lila chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya and 5 features. So this is dealing with the Panchatattva. I'm just going to go back a few verses. Text number 134. Emate pratisutre korana dushana shuni chamatkara hoila sannyasi ragan. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus showed for each and every sutra the defects in Shankaracharya's explanations, all the assembled Mayavadi sannyasis were struck with wonder. Sakala sannyasi kohe shunaha shipad tumi jay kandile arta enahib ibad. All the Mayavadi sannyasis said, Your Holiness, kindly know from us that we actually have no quarrel with your reputation of these meanings, for you have given a clear understanding of the sutras. Acharya kopita arta iha savijani sampradaya anurode tabu tahamani. We know that all this word jugglery springs from the imagination of Shankaracharya, and yet because we belong to his sampradaya, or his sect, we accept it, although it does not satisfy us. Mukyarta Bhyaktya Kora Dekit Homarbo Mukyarte Lagala Prabhu Sutra Sako. Now let us see, the Mayavadi sannyasis continued, how well you can describe the sutras in terms of their direct meaning. Hearing this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began his direct explanation of the Vedanta Sutra. So, previously, and I've always, one of the things that stands out in my vision of The Adi-lila is that we have in the beginning, of course, the Mangalacharan, some what Srila Maharaj refers to as ontological development, understanding who the different persons and their tree, their branches of the tree of Mahaprabhu, understanding who each person is in terms of a deeper understanding of who they actually are, in terms of that, in terms of the expansions of Krishna to Nityananda Prabhu, to Mahashankarshan, the two Chaturvyuhas through the Purusha avatars, understanding who the different personalities are in reference to this ontology, which is actually the whole spiritual development. And then to the 13th chapter of Adi-lila is actually dealing with Mahaprabhu's appearance, his birth. But here in this 7th chapter, we have Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi going to Benares and meeting with Prakashananda, Saraswati, and the Mayavadis, who referred to Mahaprabhu as a babuka. What's the pronunciation? Babuka. Babuka. As a sentimentalist or a fanatic, that he can't do anything except chant the holy names. He's a sannyasi in name only. He doesn't study the Vedanta Sutra, etc. They're criticizing Mahaprabhu. And to the point where Prakashananda made a boast that if Mahaprabhu thinks his sentimental goods are, that there are any purchasers in Benares, he's sadly mistaken. And then later Mahaprabhu, after he converts all the Mayavadis and convinces them, but before Mahaprabhu makes a remark that I have brought my goods, my everything to Benares, and that's a very heavy load, and I don't find anyone here in Benares who has an actual proper price for purchasing my goods. So rather than take them all back with me carrying a heavy load, I will have like a liquidation sale, and if anyone even offers a fraction of the price, the fraction, we can say the price is Sharanagati, surrender. But Mahaprabhu was saying, if anyone shows any interest at all, I will give them everything. So he's playing upon Prakashananda's words that there will be no purchaser for Mahaprabhu's goods. And Mahaprabhu is in fact saying, yes, it's true, you don't have the actual required purchasing price. But anyway, since I brought everything here, I would sell it at a discount to anyone. And then he gave very openly, his mercy to the Mayavadi sannyasis. And first, when they criticized him that why don't you study the Vedanta Sutra, then he says, my spiritual master considered me a great fool, and he says that I'm not qualified to study the Vedanta Sutra, and he told me just chant Krishna Nam, just chant the Maha Mantra. And then after I was chanting this, I began to show all these symptoms of ecstasy. And then I asked my spiritual master, what kind of mantra have you given me? It makes me laugh, cry, fall down, the hairs on my body, to stand on it. What kind of mantra have you given me? It's making me crazy, basically, making me pago. And then my spiritual master said, I am greatly satisfied with you because these are all symptoms of Krishna Prema, of divine love for the Lord, and I'm very satisfied with you. And then now, he's continuing, Mahaprabhu's continuing to speak to the Mayavadi sannyasis. They said, well, there's no harm in your, basically they're saying, there's no harm in your being a great devotee of the Lord, but can you maybe say something? We'd like to hear you say something on Vedanta Sutra. Then Mahaprabhu said, told them that Shankaracharya's made a great offense to Vedavyas because he has said that Vedavyas is mistaken and he is not. And Mahaprabhu is saying that how can you say that Vedavyas has made some mistake? If he has made any mistake at all, then there would be no validity to all his writings, because he is not, he's a literary incarnation. He's not subject to any of the defects, you know, of a normal human being whose senses are imperfect, who's in illusion, cheating tendency, makes mistakes. This cannot be that an error in the part of the, you know, the incarnation of the Lord for presenting the Vedic literature. He's in error. How audacious is this? And now here the Mayavadis all say, yes, we agree with you that Mahaprabhu refutes Shankaracharya's comments, and they said, we agree with you, but because we are as a matter of party line, we never said anything, but we agree with you that Shankaracharya's explanations are just word jugglery. So, but maybe you can say something about the direct meaning. And Mahaprabhu continues. Brihad Vastu Brahmanahi Sri Bhagavan Shad Bida Ishvarya Purna Paratatvantam. Brahman, who is greater than the greatest, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is full in 6 opulences, and therefore he is a reservoir of ultimate truth and absolute knowledge. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that the absolute truth is understood in 3 phases of realization: the impersonal Brahman, the localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of God, Swayam Bhagavan. The impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma are expansions of the potency of the Lord, who is complete in 6 opulences, namely wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Since he possesses his 6 opulences, the Lord is the ultimate truth and absolute knowledge. Swarupa Ishmarye Tara Nahi Maya Ganda Shakala Vedera Hoy Bhagavan Se Sambandha. In his original form, the Lord is full, or the Supreme Personality of God is full with transcendental opulences which are free from the contamination of the material world. It is to be understood that in all Vedic literature, he is the ultimate goal. Tari Bibi Seishakahe Chid Shakti Namani Arda Swarup Namanile Purnata Hoy Hani. When we speak of the Supreme as impersonal, we deny his spiritual potencies. Logically, if you accept half of the truth, you cannot understand the whole. If you only accept half the truth, then you won't understand the whole. And sometimes it's also said that half a truth is worse than a lie. Because a lie, you can understand it's a lie, it can be refuted. But when someone presents half the truth, it is very misleading. That's what the Mayavadis have done. They presented half the truth. They presented that the Lord is distinct from the material nature, and if we say that he is seemingly impersonal, we're in a sense denying that he has any material attributes. But that is not enough. Therefore, we always hear that the Mayavadi philosophy is, what is it? Nahi, 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 not this, not this, not this, not this. And why are we interested that, not this. If I say, oh, do you know Nyasi Maharaj? Yes, he's not a book. He's not a chair. he's not a lamp. He's not a lamppost. Okay, yes, he's none of that. But can you say something about who he really is? What is this foolishness of he's not this, he's not that? Logically, if you accept half the truth, you cannot understand the whole. So, all right, Lord has no material attributes. Well, what about his spiritual potencies? You've denied them. So, purport in the Upanishads, it is said, Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Okay. This verse, which is mentioned in the Ishopanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and many other Upanishads, indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is full in opulences. Okay. Se sarva veder abhideya nam sadhana bhakti hoite hoy primera udgam. By practicing this regulated devotional service under the direction of the spiritual master, certainly one awakens one's dormant love of Godhead. This process is called Abhidheya. Oh, wait a minute. Pardon me, I skipped a verse. Bhagavan prapti hetu je kore upai shravanadi bhakti Krishna praptira sahai. It is only by devotional service, beginning with hearing, that one can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the only means to approach Him. So, Mahaprabhu is presenting, as he often does, the understanding of the Vedas in terms of Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojan, relationship, process of acting within that relationship, and the goal or conclusion of devotional service. Devotional service, Bhakti, acting within the relationship, and Prayojana, Prema Prayojan, the goal, love of God. Se sarva vedera abhideyanam sadhana bhakti hoite hoy primera udgam. By practicing this regulated devotional service under the direction of the spiritual master, certainly one awakens one's dormant love of Godhead. This process is called Abhidheya. Krishnana chanane hoy jari anurag Krishna binu anyatra tarag nahin rahirag. If one develops one's love of Godhead and becomes attached to the lotus feet of Krishna, gradually one loses one's attachment to everything else. So there is, we're not interested in the process of elimination in the sense of just some dry renunciation of this material world. But here, one understands how devotional service, if one develops one's love of Godhead and becomes attached to the lotus feet of Krishna, gradually one loses one's attachment to everything else. Well, there's the actual understanding. Panchama Purushartha se prema Mahadan Krishnara Madhurya Ras Koraya Ashwadan. Love of Godhead is so exalted that it is considered to be the fifth goal of human life. By awakening one's love of Godhead, one can attain the platform of conjugal love, tasting it even during the present span of life. Love of God, it is so exalted, it is considered to be the fifth goal of human life. By awakening one's love of Godhead, one can attain a platform of conjugal love, tasting it even during the present span of life. So, fifth goal, we've heard Dharma Projita Kaitavatra Paramo Nirma Saranam Sadam. That the normal four goals of the Vedas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, has been that just and what is the word? An obsession with those goals is considered kaitava, is considered cheating. Mahaprabhu has said, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadishaya kamaye, mama janmani janmanishvare, bhavatad bhaktir, haituki trai. So, Mahaprabhu has rejected those normal considerations of the Vedas, but the fifth, but those four being rejected, and we hear love of God is Panchama Purushartha, the fifth goal. Prema hoite Krishna hoy nija bhakta vas, prema hoite bhai Krishna seva sukaras. The Supreme Lord, who is greater than the greatest, becomes submissive to even a very insignificant devotee because of his devotional service. It is the beautiful and exalted nature of devotional service that the infinite Lord becomes submissive to the infinitesimal living entity because of it. In reciprocal devotional activities with the Lord, the devotee actually enjoys the transcendental mellow of devotional service. Prema hoite Krishna hoy nija bhakta vas, prema hoite pai Krishna seva sukaras. Krishna becomes bhakta vas, submissive to the devotees. Through devotional service. Sambandha Abhidheya Prayojan 18 Artha Sarva Sutre Paryabasan. One's relationship with the Supreme Personality of God, and activities in terms of that relationship and the ultimate goal of life, to develop love of God. These three subjects are explained in every aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra, for they form the culmination of the entire Vedanta philosophy. Imanta sarva sutra vyakyana shunya sakala sannyasi kohe vinoi koriya. When all the Mayavadi sannyasis thus heard the explanation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the basis of Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojan, and they spoke very humbly. Vedamoy Murti Tumi Sakat Narayan Kamaparad Purve Jaikoilun Nindan. Dear Lord, you are the Vedic knowledge personified and are directly Narayan himself. Kindly excuse us for the offenses we previously committed by criticizing you. Say hoite sanyasira ferike laman Krishna Krishna nama sada kore grahan. From that moment when the Mayavadi sannyasis heard the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra from the Lord, their minds changed, and on the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they too chanted Krishna Krishna always. Imatita savar kamya puran savakare Krishnanam korela prasad. Thus Mahaprabhu excused all the offenses of the Mayavadi sannyasis and very mercifully blessed them with Krishna Nam. Tabe sab sannyasi Mahaprabhu ke loya bhikka korilena sabe madhye masaya. After this, all the sannyasis took the Lord into their midst, and thus they all took their meal together. Bhikka kore Mahaprabhu aila vasagar hina chitra lila kore goranga sundar. After taking lunch among the Mayavadi sannyasis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gaurasundar, returned to his residence. Thus the Lord performs his wonderful pastimes. Chandrasekhara Tapan Mishra Arasanatan Shunideki Anandita Sabakaraman. Hearing the arguments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and seeing his victory, Chandrasekhar, Tapan Mishra, and Sanatana Goswami were all extremely pleased, because previously Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar said they were very disturbed hearing the constant criticism and blasphemy of the Mayavadis. But now that they hear Mahaprabhu refute all the Mayavadis sannyasis' arguments and establishing devotional service there in Varanasi, converting them into giving them Krishna Nam, then Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra are very, very happy. Prabhu ke dekite aise sakala sannyasi prabhur prashamsha kore sava Varanasi. Many Mayavadi sannyasis of Varanasi came to see the Lord after this incident, and the entire city praised him. Varanasi Puri Aila Sri Krishna Chaitanya Purisaha Sarvalok Hoila Mahadanya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the city of Varanasi, and all of his people were very thankful. Laka laka log aise Prabhu ke dekite Mahabida Hoila Dware Nare Praveshite. The crowds at the door of his residence was so great that it numbered hundreds of thousands. Prabhu Jabe Jana Bhishveshwara Darshane Laka Laka Lok Ashi Mile Sestane. When the Lord went to visit the temple of Vishveshwara, hundreds of thousands of people assembled to see him.
Vishveshwara is Shiva, Maharaj?
Yeah, Vishveshwara's temple of Lord Shiva. Snana korite jave jana ganga tire tahai sakala lok hoy mahabide. Whenever Mahaprabhu went to the banks of the Ganges to take his bath, big crowds of many hundreds of thousands of people assembled there. Bahotuli Prabhu Bole, Bo Hari Hari, Hari Dwani Korilok, Svarga Martyabari. Whenever the crowds were too great, Mahaprabhu stood up, raised his hands, and chanted, Hari Hari, to which all the people responded, filling the land and sky with the vibration. Lokanishtarya Prabhu Chalite Hoilaman Brindavane Bataila Sri Sanatan. After thus delivering the people in general, the Lord desired to leave Varanasi. After instructing Sri Sanatana Goswami, he sent him toward Vrindavan. The actual purpose of Lord Chaitanya's stay at Varanasi after coming back from Vrindavan was to meet Sanatana Goswami and teach him. Sanatana Goswami met Mahaprabhu after the Lord's return to Varanasi, where the Lord taught him for 2 months about the intricacies of Vaishnava philosophy and Maya and Vaishnava activities. After completely instructing him, he sent him to Vrindavan to execute his orders. When Sanatana Goswami went to Vrindavan, there were no temples. The city was lying vacant like an open field. Sanatana Goswami sat down on the bank of the Jamuna, and after some time he gradually constructed the first temple. Then other temples were constructed, and now the city is full of temples, numbering about 5,000 at the time of this writing. And the teachings of Mahaprabhu to Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. That will come later in the Adi-lila. But here it says, after thus delivering the people in general, the Lord desired to leave Varanasi after instructing Sri Sanatana Goswami, sent him toward Vrindavan. And the actual purpose of Mahaprabhu's stay at Varanasi was to meet with Sanatana Goswami, instruct him, and send him to Vrindavan. And he told Sanatana Goswami, you can go by the public road. You're no longer in danger. He had escaped from the prison of the Nawam. And now Mahaprabhu told him there's no danger. He could go by the public road. Ratre nivase lokera shunikola ho Varanasi Chaitanya-charitamrta Adi-lila. Because the city of Varanasi was always full of tumultuous crowds, Mahaprabhu, after sending Sanatan to Vrindavan, returned to Jagannath Puri. Adi-lila kohibeage vishtara korea sankepi kohilan Adi-lila kohibage vistara korea sankepi kohilan ihan prasangapaya. I have here given a brief account of these pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, but later I shall describe them in an extensive way. A pancha tattva rupe Shri Krishna Chaitanya Krishna nama premadiya Vishwa koila nanya. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates of the Pancha Tattva distributed the holy name of the Lord to invoke love of God throughout the universe, and thus the entire universe was thankful. Madhurate Pataila Rupa Sanatan Duisena Pati Koila Bhakti Pracharan. Lord Chaitanya dispatched the two generals, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, to Vrindavan to preach the Bhakti cult. Nityananda Gosai Pataila Gaudadeshe Teho Bhakti Pracharila Asesha Viseshe. As Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were sent toward Mathura, so Nityananda Prabhu was sent to Bengal to preach extensively the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Apane Dakina Desh Korilagaman Grame Grame Koila Krishna Nama Pracharan. Mahaprabhu personally went to South India and he broadcast the holy name of Lord Krishna in every village and town. A very nice perspective of how Mahaprabhu was spreading his teachings. Setubandha Parjanta Koila Bhaktira Prachar Krishna Preme Diya Koila Savara Nishtar. Thus the Lord went to the southernmost tip of the Indian peninsula known as Setubandha, Cape Comorin. Everywhere he distributed the bhakti cult and love of Krishna, and in this way he delivered everyone. Eta Kohila Pancha Tattvara Bhakyan Ihara Shravane Hoy Chaitanya Tattvagyan. I have thus explained the truth of the Pancha Tattva. One who hears this explanation increases in knowledge of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Dvaita Tinjan Srivas Gadadhar Ari Jata Bhaktagan. While chanting the Pancha Tattva Mahamantra, while chanting the Pancha Tattva Mahamantra, one must chant the names of Sri Chaitanya Nityananda, Advaita Gadadhar and Srivas, but there are many devotees. This is the process. Sabakara Parapadme Koti Namaskar Chaichi Taichi Kohikechu Chaitanya Bihar. I again and again offer obeisances unto the Pancha Tattva. Thus I think that I will be able to describe something about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Oops. Wow. Sabakara Parapadme Kote Namaskar, Jai Chitai Chiko Hekechu, Chaitanya Vihar. I again and again offer obeisances unto the Panchatattva, thus I think that I will be able to describe something about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Esa Sri Rupa Raghunath Parijaras, Chaitanya-charitamrta Koi Krishnadas. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishnadas narrate Sri Chaitanya-charitamrta, following in their footsteps. Purport: Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the Sankirtan movement of love of Krishna throughout the entire world, and therefore during his presence, he inspired the Sankirtan movement. Specifically, he sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami to Vrindavan and Nityananda to Bengal, and personally went to South India. And in this way, he kindly left the task of preaching his cult and the rest of the world to, here it says, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. We also feel we have that right. The members of the society must always remember that if they stick to the regulative principles and preach sincerely according to the instructions of the acharyas, surely they will have the profound blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and their preaching work will be successful everywhere throughout the world. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya-charitamrta, Adi-lila, 7th chapter, describing Lord Chaitanya in 5 features, the glories of the Panchatattva.